Welcome to Craft and Crashouts with your co-hosts Mick and Ari. We are both writers trying to become traditionally published, and on this podcast, we meet every week to discuss craft, progress, and what we are currently crashing out about. The time change happened, and it's getting darker at like 4 p.m. And like once 4 and 5 hit, I'm like dead to the world. Like you can't ask me to do much.
No, that's exactly it. I realized like I took vitamin D for the first time like last week because I was like, something's off. I don't know what it is, but something is off. And we need a multivitamin, maybe a little bit of extra vitamin D in this situation. We're coming to brain dead.
Yeah, we're getting into winter. I told my husband I have to start making, or we both have to start making a list of like things to do. So that when we start to feel crazy, we got to go do them. And I love winter. Like I don't mind as much as him because I have more like indoor hobbies.
Yeah.
And I like the coziness, but I do start to feel crazy when the sun sets at 4 basically. And I feel dead to the world post 4 p.m.
It's so upsetting. One thing that does really help is we really like decked out our apartment with really fun, nice mood lighting. And then you put like an ambiance, cozy fireplace video on the television. It really zhuzhes everything up in the most wonderful of ways. But yeah, sunset at 4:30 is undeniably upsetting.
Upsetting.
Yeah.
Illegal. I thought we were done with the time changing thing. Wasn't there going to be a law that was going to be
Wasn't
passed
there a petition?
for like no more daylight savings?
Yeah. I
The
remember
only-
that.
Right. And I was excited. I will say I do like the sun shining in the morning though.
I agree.
So it is hard because like I do like to wake up with the sun, and the sun rises at like 7, which is like the perfect time for the sun to rise. So I like that. I just hate the dark of 4 p.m.
Have you ever used a sad lamp?
Yes, I own one. Do I use it? No. Should I be? Yes.
It actually changed my life. Like genuinely. So apparently when you use a sad lamp, and for whoever doesn't know, a sad lamp is like a seasonal affective disorder lamp. And it's just like a very bright light shining in your face. But apparently it's supposed to mimic the sun, and it's supposed to come from above. And I feel like a lot of the lights that they sell, actually you put it on like a table below you.
Yeah.
So I jerry-rigged this weird lamp, and I duct taped the sad lamp to a lamp. So it was shining above.
Well, that's so smart though.
But it was great. I would turn it on for like an hour in the morning, and if you do it consistently, I swear it does something. And honestly, it might not be the UV. It might just be the fact that there's just like a very bright light shining in your face.
Well, because it's supposed to help with like cortisol. So like now we're a science podcast, everyone. It's supposed to regulate we're a health and science podcast. It's supposed to regulate your circadian rhythm, which I don't mind is off, and like really off. Because like I start to get more wired at like 9 p.m.
Are you a night owl? I don't know if I knew this about you.
No, okay. I'm not. It's horrible, Ari. No, it's not. I get so exhausted. I put myself to bed and then I'm wired. It's because my circadian rhythm is off. So I start producing cortisol at night when you shouldn't be. You should produce it in the morning when you wake up. So that's why I used to use a sad lamp for that reason. And I do try to take like circadian rhythm walks in the morning, circ walks as people call them. So you get outside, like first thing movement. Like right after you wake up. Like
I thought circ walks were like circulation walks, but circadian rhythm walks makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
It's to like get not looking into abbreviations. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I should be more diligent about it. It is very helpful. Yeah. Maybe I'll use my sad lamp. But maybe I should also just get outside and walk first thing in the morning when the sun is up.
I'm going to do both. Because
maybe we should do both.
We can never get enough.
We'll report back. Yeah. Wait, you were traveling though. How's that?
It was good. It was good. I went to see my parents. I helped them with like a
Mhm.
bunch of stuff. My parents are getting older, so they just like need some more help. And there was a lot of paperwork, and I was like a glorified secretary for a couple days, but honestly, it was like nice. It was like nice to be able to help and just
Yeah.
like do whatever I could.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I went to see my nephew and my old
Cute.
lab from grad school, which was like really nice. And we had like a little labs thing, like we call it labs giving, but it's like lab Thanksgiving that we do every year, which was like really sweet and
Aw, that's
delicious. The food
sweet.
was amazing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love I love Thanksgiving food.
God, it was so good. It was like mashed potatoes, turkey,
Mhm.
obviously, cranberry sauce, creamed corn,
Yum.
creamed onions,
Oh,
salad, because you gotta have your greens.
yep.
And then there was just so much pie.
I love that. I love a lot of pie.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
it was. How was your weekend?
It was good. This week was I really did nothing. I was, like, catatonic
Mm,
all week, and
good,
then
good.
this weekend was good. We hosted some people, which was nice. So, like, a couple nights of hosting. Yeah, and now it's already Monday again.
Oh, time. How does it
Time.
move?
And I'm actually worried because I was listening to so funny. I edit these episodes, and
Yeah.
for those who are listening, we have like a backlog now, like a couple weeks. So the episode that came out today, so we record on the same days that our episodes come out, and I was listening to it this morning while like making breakfast and such. And I was like, I don't know if I even have any new updates.
Wait, I was
Let's have
thinking
this
the
go.
same thing.
I feel like I've been really bad with writing lately. Maybe we can talk about it because I
Yeah,
was like,
let's
"Oh,
do that.
no." I was like, "I don't know if I have much to update from, like, 2 weeks ago, and definitely not the last time we recorded." So, maybe we can discuss that today.
Why have we why have we slowed down?
How have we slowed down? But I think that's a fun part of, like, a weekly writing podcast, and I know that, we were inspired to do this podcast also partially by Victoria Aveyard and
Yeah,
Soman Shinani's Plot Twist, which I feel like if you're a writer, I feel like everyone now knows about this podcast. It's, like, so good. It's taken the writing world by storm,
truly by
and,
storm.
we wanted to also talk weekly about writing, but as, like, future aspiring authors, not authors who are already in the space. But it is really reassuring to hear them also week after week give their goals and be like, yeah, I didn't do any of that. So we'll
Yeah.
try again. And like, that makes me feel a lot better that you guys have how many books published under your belt. You guys are working on crazy deadlines. And Soman's trying to finish chapter 12 for like 3 weeks. I'm like, real, Soman, thank you. I relate.
Honestly, it makes me so happy that it's like so relatable because I feel like it's so easy to be like, "Oh, you are superhuman. You have how many books
Mhm.
published? You were published at what age?" Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very reassuring and comforting. And so we're just going to bring you our version of that where we're not published, but
And we're
we
still
also
measuring.
are struggling.
So we're not published, we aren't working on deadline, and we still aren't writing. Welcome to our writing podcast, Craft and Crash Outs.
Where this one we crash out.
Because it's feeling like a crash out day. Last couple weeks has been really craft focused. This feels like crashing out.
I feel like
Good.
we should
Balance.
have seen this coming by the fact that we
Mhm.
started this episode by talking about how we needed vitamin D in our lives. like,
We should have known the crash out was
like we
inevitable.
should
We were
have
like,
seen it.
it's November and we're already seasonally depressed. How are you doing?
Temperature check. Are we all okay?
No, that is definitely the answer. Oh,
Oh
are you
my
are
god.
you reading anything new this week? At least?
Okay,
Potentially?
so update. I have I have not finished We Love You Bunny.
That's okay. That's okay. We can't always read a book a week.
No, but I did watch Persuasion, which was the Netflix adaptation of Jane Austen's Persuasion with Dakota Johnson.
When is that new?
I think it came out like 3 years ago. It's not
Okay.
super new.
I was like, I
I
don't think
watched it
I've
with my mom.
heard of that.
Yeah. We love a period piece. Me
I
and
love Jane
the women
Austen.
in my family, I'm a Jane Austen, Jane Eyre, Bronte
Mhm.
sisters girl.
Yes.
And I watched the movie. The movie was good. Have some thoughts, but this is
Mm.
not a film podcast, so I will keep them to
Can
myself.
be.
I think that they tried to modernize the dialogue a little bit too
Mm.
much in a way that you actually like lost some of the beauty and the like poetic nature of her writing, which was a little upsetting. So I was like, let's just pick up the book because actually Persuasion is one of my favorites of hers. Like love Pride and Prejudice, love Sense and Sensibility, but Persuasion I think is one of the more underrated ones. It's
Mhm.
kind of a Cinderella retelling in like a lot of ways. Um, and if you didn't know, Cynthia Erivo, our Elphaba, our beloved,
Yes, I saw
uh,
you send that.
narrates Persuasion, and you can find the audiobook on Spotify. So was
That's gorgeous.
traveling like a ton, and just like having Cynthia Erivo read you Jane Austen,
Mm.
there is no greater joy in life. I really believe that. But so that's what I've been reading. I've been reading Persuasion because I just kind of wanted a comfort read, something that's not horror, because I've been reading back to back horror novels actually.
Me too, me too.
And I have just been really enjoying it, even if it is a reread.
That's great.
Mm,
And I love that Cynthia Erivo is narrating it. That sounds lovely. Again, I love a good narration. I love a
yeah.
well-produced audiobook, a good narrator. I just love an audiobook. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks
Yeah.
lately because I will be like doing chores around my house or going to the pottery studio. And so
Hmm.
I just have my headphones in. I even started continuing my audiobook in the gym,
Yes. I
which
actually love
honestly,
doing that.
it works.
Hmm.
I
I'll
don't
like,
always need like super bass.
yeah.
You know, sometimes I just need to like continue the book I'm listening to.
Yeah.
So
I actually really get that. I've been even bringing just like a physical version of my book to like just read on the treadmill, and that's been really nice. But I feel like listening to an audiobook when you're throwing clay, that must be so lovely.
it is. It is. And then, I mean, sometimes I do still have to, like, I'll catch my mind wandering and I
Yeah.
have to like go back. But that's with anything like auditory. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because even with a podcast, sometimes I'll like listen to what they said and then it'll put me on a little tangent of my own in my head. I have to go, no, no, let's go back to a point I really remember.
Yeah.
So that still happens, but I do love an audiobook. That's great that
Yeah.
you're revisiting Jane Austen.
I know. I love her. What about you? What are you reading this week?
I didn't grab it. Hold on. It's in my bedroom. Oh, because we took like a break from recording, but since I spoke with you last, I saw Liz Moore speak
Tell
in Cleveland.
us. How was it?
It was great. She did something different. I guess I haven't seen this format before because usually I've gone to like an author event where it's more of like a debut. So it's like a reading and then like an interview
Yeah.
style, and then you get your book signed.
Yeah.
Um, this was an author talk. So it was like she had a prepared like speech. And
I've
then
never been to one like that. That's so interesting.
it was really nice. And then she did like a Q&A where they took questions like prior to, which I didn't submit one and I should have. I should have.
Next
But it
time.
was really nice. So I got my God of the Woods copy signed because that book has truly been like just so great. Like I just revisited it so much for voice. But then I also got Long Bright River by her,
Ooh.
which is being made into a Peacock series right now. I do hate. Can we talk about the worst trend in publishing right now are these little
Please.
stickers?
Oh my God. The worst.
What are we doing?
What are
I
we doing?
Why is this not removable? I'm okay with it because I love The God of the Woods. So it says like from the author of The God of the Woods, but I'm like, this is ugly. Get it off. I can't buy a book anymore that anything that has like Netflix adaptation.
Mm-mm.
What
Immediately
are
no.
you doing? The only one I will accept are like the awards. It's like those gold,
Yeah.
like foiled ones on books. Those are fine.
Yeah.
Anything else, unacceptable. But I still got it and
I'm with
you
you on the
find it.
stickers.
And
That's so
so
nice. And you got it signed. Oh,
yes. This one's really, really, really good. She's just a really great writer. So I
yeah.
just I really like just started reading this. So I have the physical copy and then I am listening to it on audiobook as well. So I can go like back and forth between physical and audio.
I love
So
doing that.
that's what I've been reading.
I love doing that. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Are you, what's it called? So you had read God of the Woods a while ago, and now this is the second book of hers that you're reading.
Yes, and I also after I read God of the Woods, I picked up Heft
How
by
many
her.
books does she have published?
I'm turning also by Liz Moore. Yeah, so I picked up Heft. So she
Okay.
has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 published.
Oh, a lot.
Um, yes, and they're all like thriller mystery-y, more thriller-y,
Mm.
but Heft was really good, and The God of the Woods is great, and then this is really great so far too. It's about two sisters, Casey and Mickey. Casey is a police officer who patrols the streets that her sister lives on because she
Okay.
is right now like an addict living on the streets. And so she's working, but she's always looking out for her sister. And then her sister goes missing. And this is her story of like finding her. So it's very emotional. But
Mm.
it's really, really good. Again, like if no one's read Liz Moore, I highly recommend to read her, especially to study like interiority
Mm.
and emotion because she does it so well. She just does it so well. So it's been,
Amazing. I
yeah.
love a story that revolves around like a sister pair.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Me
have
too.
God of the Woods on my bookshelf. I need to read it.
You have to. And then I
Yeah,
want to hear everything you think about it.
you bet. Maybe it'll be the next book I pick up. I'm, are you like this? I read like 9 books at one time. Like I can't read one book at a time. I need
Yeah.
multiple depending on my mood so I can switch between different ones.
I'm very much a mood reader. Like I have tried to be in multiple book clubs now at this point, and it's just not for me. You
Mm.
can't you can't put me in a book club. I can't be told what to read.
I
I
relate.
yeah, I think too it is harder for me reading wise when I'm writing.
Mm.
And I either some weeks I'm like I need to read something so not like my book
Mm.
right now, like so far removed, or some weeks I'm like I need to read something that's similar to my book so I can like ruminate on something with the plot or a character. So it
Yeah.
really is. It's like depending on what I'm writing, it's depending on how I'm feeling. But yeah, no, I have like a million books going. It's like all on my bedside table. I have like multiple on my Kindle. I have multiple physical books. I have multiple audiobooks, and I will rotate until one hits and I finally finish it.
I'm so glad because I'm the same way. And I feel like when I tell people what I'm reading, they're like, how are you reading them all at once? But it's like I have multiple dogs and race, and it's just like
Yes. That's a great way to put it.
one of them is going to win. It's
Mhm.
fine. You know,
Eventually.
eventually.
The issue is too is I read so many series last year and I had to stop. Like this year I was like we cannot read any series cuz that
Mm.
is the one thing that puts a wrench. When I start a series, I feel like I have to like finish it if the
Yeah.
books are out and it stresses me out. It stresses me out. I think anything that makes me feel like I have to read something makes me really stressed, and I think it's leftover from college.
I actually really get that because I haven't read Red Rising yet or Jade City, which are both like the first books of two different
Yep.
trilogies on my bookshelf. And I have so many other books that are standalones, even though I want to get to those books so badly because they come so highly recommended. I just cannot bring myself to pick them up because I
Yeah,
know it's not one book, it's three books. It's not two books, it's six books, you know?
right. No, I agree. In Red Rising, I do feel like is something you have to read back to back.
Yeah.
At least I
Yeah.
do. Because then I forget. Like there are so many books I have to reread because I forget what happens. Yeah, like I still haven't read the third Fourth Wing book because
Oh, me
it came
neither.
out so much later after the first two. And looking at it, I just feel a weight of exhaustion. I'm like, oh my God, just another time. Just when I feel the need to reread the first two, I will do that. And then I'll read the third. And yeah, I don't know, reading comes and goes for me in waves. Then there's like some months where I'm like pouring through books, like just snapping them up. And some months I'm like, I have not finished a book yet.
You know, I'm the same way. And I also find that when I have like a nice outdoor space and the weather is nice,
Mm,
I read so much more because I see reading outside and like a cozy outdoor area as an activity, but you just can't do that in the winter. And I find sitting inside reading on my couch just doesn't do it for me in the same way as like sitting on my balcony and like, you know, spending an hour reading my book. It's just like not the same. So I feel like I spent so much time this summer reading and now
mm.
it's just dwindling because like it's not hitting the same. I don't
See,
have
I
my
feel like
little reading area.
I feel like I start to read more in the winter
Mm.
when I'm indoors, but I don't know, it's still so dependent on my writing and my mood. But I get that, like needing like a fun outdoor space because sometimes sitting on my couch, I don't know, I feel like lazy, which I know isn't right or good way to think, but sometimes that's how I feel if I'm just like
I get
sitting there.
that. I'm the same way. I relate.
But that's why this winter I'm really trying hard. I'm a TV girl. It's a problem. I'm a TV girl and I'm a reality TV girl. And I will sit and watch reality TV so much. And
Mm.
I'm trying to lower my screen time like all around.
Yeah.
And this winter, I really want to make a focus. I think that's why audiobooks will help because I think I can like do a puzzle, listen to an audiobook, do a puzzle, or not do a puzzle, like crochet, listen to an audiobook, like do a cozy, quiet activity while reading, I think will help me.
100%. Also, very meditative cooking and listening to an audiobook. One of my favorite things to do. So, what have you been working on this week? I know we said we haven't been writing, but what have you been working on this week?
I don't even know what to say. Like, I actually don't even know what to say. I mean, I've written, like, I
Yeah.
even before we got on, I did a sprint and I wrote 999 words in 45 minutes. Like,
Slay.
slay.
That's amazing, actually.
So I'm writing, but like, I don't even know what to say about it. I feel Uh, I don't know. I've been writing, sure, sure. Sometimes in the last like 2 weeks, because it's been like 2 weeks since you and I chatted.
Yeah.
But I think the issue is like the last 2 weeks have been crazy, and so I haven't been writing every day.
Yeah.
And when I get booted off that schedule, oh my God, it is hard to get the train back on the tracks.
Mhm.
And I think that's where I'm at. And I think I just have to really lock in this week where even if it's like 200 words, it could be 30 words. I need to get back to writing every single day or we're about to derail. And I'm like, I'm careening off a cliff so far. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm worried about. That's what I have to be focused on. So, like, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I've been writing, but not every day. And so I don't. I don't even know. I just feel really disconnected, I guess, to my writing right now because like life has been crazy.
Yeah.
The weather is changing, my mood is
Mhm.
changing, and I feel like I have to just get back to being like disciplined in the practice and doing it every day.
Yeah, I really get that. And you know what? We can cheerlead each other on to write this week and get back on track. But also, I feel like it is really hard. Sometimes life does get in the way. And I always try to, in order to comfort myself and others, it's, life happens. Your number one priority is always life and like experiencing it. And whatever that is will also always inform your writing and make it deeper and richer. And yeah, it's always kind of a balance between being disciplined, but also, there are people and demands to everyday life that we can't be writing machines 24/7.
Right. I just feel like I know when I need to go in the cave, as
Yeah.
they say. I
Mhm.
need to go in the cave bad. I need to go in the cave bad, or I won't get the writing done by the end of the year that I want to if I don't go in the cave. So,
Yeah.
like, it is a weird thing because it's like, yes, art takes time, it's a process, and I agree with all those things. But then on the other side of the coin, it's like it is a muscle that you have to flex, and it is a
Yes.
discipline that you have to encourage yourself to do. And
Yeah.
I know right now I'm in a season where I'm like, I need to be disciplined.
Mhm.
So I just have to do it. I just have to force myself to, because once I get back in that swing, then I'm fine. Then I'm like, I feel so much better and obviously more connected to my writing. But so
Yeah.
yeah, what have I been working on? I don't know. I've added words. Are they good? No. No, they're not.
It's something. 900 words in like one sprint. Did you do one sprint?
Yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
hella good sprint.
No, I agree. It was a great sprint. Was it good words? No. No, it was
Mhm.
really bad words, but it's okay. I just need to get to the finish line with this first draft. Like
Yeah.
my brain just keeps wanting to go to edit mode.
Yep.
I just have to stop.
And
Just
do
have
you
to
want to
stop.
finish this draft before the end of the year? Is that correct?
Yes. Isn't it funny that I thought I was going to finish this draft in April? That's so funny of me. That's
But the
hilarious.
book has changed so much.
I was like, I'm gonna finish this draft in April, and then I'm gonna edit it again, and then I'm gonna edit it again, and then I'm gonna query by the end of the year. That was ridiculous. I can't believe I thought that. So I don't know. Yes, I would like to write the end by the end of this year so I can finally get to my beloved editing stage where I can tear it apart.
Mhm.
That's what I've just been waiting to do. But right now it's just I just have to get back on the train tracks. I just have to get back to writing every day because these last 2 weeks, honestly, like since Halloween, I've felt like this whole month I've been like, what is going on? And it's
Yeah.
funny because it's like November, which is like the month that everyone loves to like lock in. And I've resisted locking in. I've been like, you can't make me. And I
Yeah.
have to make myself now. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always such a hard balancing act because I feel like you really you can't force it because it sucks
Mm-hmm.
all the joy out of it and it sucks all the life
Mm-hmm.
out of it. But at the same time, it is discipline, it is a muscle. You don't want to wait around for a book to be finished in 10 years, right? You want to have some sort of timeline. Um, and so it really is a push and pull and kind of just meeting yourself where you're at. And if you feel like you need the discipline, you need to go into the cave. I'm cheering you on. Cave, 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 cave.
Okay. Yeah, that's my goal this week is to just write every day. I don't really care how many words. I'm trying to stay away from word count goals because they stress me out. Because
Yeah.
then I feel like bad about myself if I don't hit it when like actually I'm still making progress and that should be the part that I focus on. So it's really just getting back into writing every day, even if it's a couple words. So what are you working on?
Whew. Great question. Uh, okay, so I was traveling and I was driving. And so I feel like when I travel, I normally take the train. Like 90% of the time I'm taking the
Yeah.
train, which means traveling is like so exciting. I write so much because I'm on a train without internet and the words are just coming. But I was driving and so I couldn't. And I had actually, before I had left on my trip, I had printed out, I think it was 3 or 4 chapters of Act Two,
Oh,
um, to kind of comb through and edit and just make a little bit stronger because I had kind of hit this block with Act Two where um, things were working and it was okay, but it just didn't feel fleshed out. It didn't feel strong. And I was just like, you know what? You need to just write and you need to just get the words down and you really don't need to worry about it being good. And so the remedy I had to just kind of very quick drafting those first chapters was to, I'll give myself permission to go ahead and go through and edit and clean them up. Like, I'm not going to leave the chapters like that. And that was kind of a good strategy for me to just get those chapters written because I
mhm.
was, this happens. I'm so sorry. My dog is
That's okay.
dragging a bone across the floor. Okay. um, this happens for me every single project. And I've talked about this in previous writing blog videos where between 20,000 and 30,000 words of quite literally every single manuscript I've ever written, ever,
Mm,
I absolutely hate it and I want to throw it in a trash can and set it on fire. Like I don't know what it is about it, but I genuinely, it's just such a block. Like those 10,000 words consistently are such a block for me. And it was, I think it was like 24,000 words and it hit. And I was just like, oh God, like, why is this happening? Like what is wrong with this draft? Like something must be wrong with it because I've spent so much time drafting and editing at this point. Like it should be strong. It should feel strong. And then I was like, wait a minute. I know you. I know
yeah.
your process. I
Mhm.
know where we
You're
are right
back.
now. We're back. And so I basically told myself, you know what? Like you just need to burn your way through these 6,000 words and get past the 30,000 word mark because that's the only way this is going to resolve itself because
Yeah.
it's so consistent for me. It's crazy. Which I think goes to show like it's really important to know your process because the only way I would know to um, kind of like forget about trying to draft quality and just draft the quantity and come back to it later is because like I know between 20 and 30K, it's a shit show.
Mhm.
Um, so basically, this week is now going to be me combing through those chapters and trying to clean them up and trying to make them somewhat legible so that I can continue drafting Act Two and get past that 30K word mark.
That's so interesting that it's consistent for you. I
Yeah.
wonder I wonder why that point. Because it's not even, like, the dreaded, in my opinion, fun and game section. That's, like, the we're entering the plot, like, the
So
call.
this is my theory is I have such a good time with Act One because you're setting up the dominoes and it
Mhm.
feels just like you're like leaving little clues, you're setting everything up to just get going. But Act Two, and like we've talked about it before, I do like 4 act structure. So it's Act One, Act 2A, Act 2B, Act Three. Act 2A, actually, the pacing has to slow down because you're
Mhm.
setting up all these things. The inciting incident has happened. The first plot point has happened. So you're past the point of no return at that point. And then you've like entered the fun game section, and the plot and the pacing kind of have to slow down, and you need to have them kind of chugging towards the midpoint. And I think I really struggle with that feeling of the pacing lagging and it feels like there's something wrong, but I think that that's just what inevitably happens in Act Two. This is my theory. I could be totally wrong, but I think it's like I can feel the difference in pacing because in Act One, you're like revving the engine, you're getting everything going, and then you need to like take a second and slow down a little bit. And that feels so off.
Yeah, okay, I guess it is the fun and game section. I was trying to think of my own draft because I'm like, I don't even know how many. It's like 24, 25,000 words is like act
Mm,
one. So
yeah.
then, yeah, so I guess it is. It's the transitioning into
Act two.
act two.
Yeah. And like the first little
Interesting.
bit of act two. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I just think that all the time. That's so strange that you'll hit that at that word mark. I'm like, wow, every time I write, I wanna throw it in the garbage. That's so crazy.
No, that's not to say that I don't think that all the time. Like I absolutely do. But I think
It's
there's
just
a
a
difference
mental
for me
block.
where I I have like I'm an everyday writer. Like I sit down to write every single day. And it can be like any range of word count, like so long as I'm putting like an hour or two into writing, like I'm happy. If I put more than that, like that's amazing. But like I was really struggling to even just like sit down and like look at my draft. Like
Mm.
that's when I know something's wrong, when
See,
I'm like trying to avoid it.
I feel like I'm doing that too, but I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that. How do we fix that? What just like does someone have to like strap me to a chair and
Mm,
like chain me down,
yeah.
yell at
Yeah.
me? Like,
Hopefully not. That sounds really unpleasant.
no, that's why I'm like, I don't know what it is. It feels like you've at least uncovered though, like like, okay, when I hit this point, like you said, you know your process so intimately that that is the mental block that you're having. So you don't spiral now because you're like,
Mm.
oh, okay, this happens every time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Does it feel like you just don't want to sit down to write?
Hmm. No, I do want to write. I want to finish this book. And I love this book. I think about it all the time. I think it's still just like fear, just fear
Mhm.
mental blocks. Just like, I know this is bad, but I know it's going to be fixed. But it's like those two parts of my brain they're not in communication with each other. Does
Mm.
that make sense? Like one half
Yeah.
of my brain is like, this is absolute dog shit.
Yep.
You're horrible. This is going to suck.
Oh, man.
And then the other half of my brain is like, of course it's horrible. Writing is editing. You will fix this and it will continue to get better. But like they aren't in conversation with each other.
Yeah.
They're like saying it on their own.
Yeah. And I do think that you can rationally know something, but emotionally absolutely not feel it. And I think even if you rationally know something, it doesn't necessarily stop the emotion from like overriding the
Yeah.
actual action. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
And like I think I think that's like a little bit also writer's block territory, right? Like there's so many
Mm,
different root reasons for writer's block, but I think a big one can be every time you sit down, you feel like you're drafting something that is bad. And it's like fear of like, am I ever going to be able to make this good? Like that's, I think, a very valid and common form of writer's block. At least that's definitely what I
yeah.
experience.
I guess I never even thought about it as writer's block. Cause like when I think of writer's block, I think of like not knowing what to write.
Mm, interesting.
Whereas like I guess that's not true. Like you're right. Like it's still like a mental block. I always, and even when I don't know what to write, I'll always write something like today I wrote 1,000 words. I had no idea where I was going with this chapter. Should have planned
Yeah.
it out. Again, it's not good, but I still wrote words.
Hmm.
I think it's just like, imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
fear that it sucks. Ugh, annoying. How do I fix that? I don't know. Ari, how do you fix that?
I would love to know because
Mhm.
I feel like it is, I feel like it's one thing to rationally be like, yes, this is going to be hopefully like the first book that I publish. Like,
Mhm.
yes, that means if I'm doing my job right, that means that this will be my first book. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you feel confident in writing that if it feels bad. I think the only thing that kind of sometimes makes me feel better is a lot of a lot of writers that I really look up to, like, often hate their work.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and I think that that's just by virtue of, like, being in your own brain and, like, knowing how the sausage gets made of it's just really hard to disconnect, like, yourself from the art and to judge it because it's, like, coming from your own brain.
Yeah.
I don't have a solution. It's just really hard. I feel like what I'm always trying to do is I'm always trying to write to like reach a flow state so that I stop thinking those thoughts. Like that's always my goal is to just like, let me just try to do this for 10, 20 minutes until like that little part of that chattery part of my brain kind of shuts off and I can just write freely. And some days that comes easier than others. And some months it's just constantly there and I can never achieve it. And it's really hard.
I know, I feel like the only way to get through it is to write every
Mm.
day, which is why I feel like, at least for me, I'm stuck in this mental block because I haven't been sitting down every single day to write, and you
Yeah.
kinda have to write through it, which is annoying. But I like how you said that, though. I think that is actually really helpful of, like, writing to get to a flow state. Maybe I
Yeah.
need to do more, like, a ritual around my writing.
Yeah. Oh, I like that idea. Like
Like
what? Light a candle.
yeah, like, something because I mean, I still do that now, like, for any other things that I try to do and, like, to make a habit of in my life for, like, for I'm trying to get better sleep lately. So I
Mm.
got I got a light bulb that turns red, everybody. Again, we're back to health and wellness podcasting, and I now, turn the red light on before I go to bed. I have a red light face mask because 'cause I'm 30 and I'm trying to help my skin, and, so there's, like, a nighttime, like, wind down routine, and that really helps my brain, like, to switch to sleep mode so I don't get wired at 9 PM all of a sudden. I try to, like, keep myself in, like, a wind down state. So I wonder if I can think of something to they're always like, "Oh, romanticize your writing." And maybe there's something to that. Maybe I just need to, like, do 1 to 2 steps that clicks my brain into, like, "Okay, we're in writing mode.
Yeah.
We're gonna reach the flow state." I don't know. It's kind of like how even when I don't wanna work out, I just force myself to leave the house, and
Yeah.
I always say, like, I could literally just do a warm up. I could walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes and then go home, but once
Exactly.
you're done walking on the treadmill for 10 minutes, I'm, like, ready to
Let's go.
work out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need, like, something
100%.
like that for writing.
Yeah. I wonder, yeah, that's a really good point because I also feel like what that does is I have a really hard time with starting energy and just like inertia
Mm,
to start.
yeah.
And I feel like that gym example is the perfect example of like you just need the starting energy, just that little bit. And I feel like it's very similar with writing. Like, what if it's just like, this is tricky because maybe sometimes reading over the previous chapter might actually kind of like shut it down a little bit if you're like coming from a judging perspective.
Mhm.
But I wonder if it's something that can activate like the fun, joyful, like playful part of writing. Like I find that's when I really reach flow state is when I can like activate like, oh, what about this? And what about this? And like, oh, this is funny or this is fun.
Yeah.
Like it's like that kind of like playful aspect of things. Um, that maybe it's just like listening to your playlist and like going for a
Mhm.
walk around the block or um starting a writing sprint so that at 1 p.m. or whatever time it is that you choose, you're gonna have to just like open the document and start writing. And maybe that's all the starting energy that you need. Um, but it's like, yeah, how do you kind of turn on either like the playful part of your brain that's excited to write or just like get over the small starting energy hump?
Mhm. Something I used to do for, like, a couple months, I don't remember if it was this year in, like, spring. It was actually really nice. Maybe I should do this again.
Yeah.
Um, but I wore down all my colored pencils, so maybe I need, like, markers. So what I was doing was, like, I have, like, big craft paper, like, brown craft paper that I, like, taped to my desk, and then I did, is it bilateral drawing?
Oh, you told me about this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was actually really helpful. But it like wore down all my colored pencils. So I need to do like markers, I think might be easier. But you basically just, yeah, I guess it does like help you enter the flow state where you move both of your hands like at the same time in like the same patterns and you're like just scribbling all over the page.
Mm.
And it's supposed to like calm down your brain and unlock both parts of like left and right brain and get you into a creative flow state. So maybe I do something like that again because it's kind of fun to scribble on paper. I feel like that's it. It's like getting out all the like anxious energy of like, oh, this isn't
Yeah.
good and blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't know, finding a way to like get that out of the system and then just sit down and write.
And
But
I
yeah.
think it's also like my dog is causing a ruckus today. I think also that really made me think of like when I'm in like the deepest pits of despair when it comes to my
Mhm.
writing and I think about this often. I'm like, I should just give up. Why am I spending all of my free time quite literally torturing myself? Um
Literally.
why am I doing this? And I keep coming back to the same point of I really enjoy it, but it's like deeper than that. It's like, what is your why? And like for me,
Mhm.
my why is like, Ollie, leave the leaf. Sorry.
Oh my God, my cats have been eating so many leaves.
I think it really comes down to remembering what your why is. And I think for me,
Mhm.
it's a lot of writing days can feel really crappy and bad, but a lot of them can feel good. And I think I write a lot of the time for the days where I do hit flow state. But I think even deeper than that, there's a little nugget
Mhm.
in me that when I write this story and when I thought about this story and when I plotted this story and when I keep drafting this story, there's a little nugget in me that's like, I think this is a good story that I think deserves to be told. And I think it has an interesting perspective. And I think that tiny little nugget is really what keeps me going, even when I'm so frustrated beyond belief. And I think it's really just like finding that little nugget of yours, like for the story, and just reminding yourself, like, what about it makes you feel like it's unique and special and like only you can tell it? Because it's true. Like, only you can tell the story that you're writing. Like, only you can write
Mhm.
House of Bones. Like, you have such insight into it and you know your vision. And I think the really, really hard part is coming to terms with sometimes our skill level doesn't meet the vision that we have
Yeah.
for the story, but it doesn't mean that it's never going to get there. You know, like we can work on skill level, but it means that we just have to keep showing up. And it's just that little nugget, that like tiny little thing that sometimes it gets dimmed, but it's still always there. I feel like that's really what I reach for when I'm so close to just absolutely throwing everything out the window.
Yeah. That's fair. And like two, we're both writing, fantasies of some sort. Like yours is high fantasy, which is even harder, I feel like, than a urban fantasy, like rooted in the real world. Ari and I both have very ambitious plots.
Say that
But
again.
I like what you said there. Like that could also be it. It's like the gap of the high expectations I have for myself and how I'm executing this story versus where it's at right now. And I do, yes, like the rational part of my brain is like, it's still really, it's draft two, but it's draft one with a lot of the new plot points. And there's so many intricacies and layers to the character relationships and to the B plots that are happening that I'm like, this is not hitting.
Yeah.
But, and that also creates blocks. But yeah, it's like
Yeah.
every time it will get better. But it is. We have like ambitious projects.
Yeah. And they're not easy to write, just like, period. The
Yeah.
idea itself. And I think there's also like several aspects of our stories that make them even more complicated to write. Um, and yeah, I wouldn't discount that. I think that it's not these aren't easy projects to write. And
Yeah.
I also think it's totally, totally normal to spiral and feel doubt and not want to sit down and work on the project, but kind of sometimes maybe giving yourself space is the answer, but sometimes just like showing up even when it feels really crappy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely in the showing up when it feels really crappy. I have to just power through.
Are you just like cold turkey going into a scene, or like do you have like a scene outline? Like is it hard for you to get going because you don't know what you're going to write that day? Like would it maybe be helpful to just kind of like sketch out like, okay, this is what I'm going to work on today, and just give yourself like a little mini baby to-do list?
This is about to be a tangent.
I love it.
So, I used to be a hardcore plotter.
Mhm.
Hardcore. Had a whole process. And then before every scene or chapter, I would outline that. What I have realized, though, with my spicy ADHD brain, is if I do all that work, it feels like I wrote the book. And so I don't have to write.
I get this. I really understand that. Yeah.
Like, if I plot out now too much, and if I write in such detail the scene, or even plot it out in bullet points, I've like written it in my head because I can like see it like a movie. And for some reason, my little ADHD brain who likes newness and all that, I'm like, oh, I already wrote it. Like, I already know what's going to happen. Like, that's what's happening. So I've been trying to trick myself. And that's why I do think I'm going slower with this draft than I thought, because I do struggle getting started in a scene. But I don't, right now at least, just to get through this draft, if I plot too much, then I won't write those chapters. I learned when I was like writing the beginning portions. Because,
Even just like bullet points. That's so interesting. Like just like maybe a
yeah,
sentence or two, and it that's enough to just be like, no, thank you.
then I did the work. Then I did it.
Wow.
It's
Interesting.
rough.
Okay.
It's bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just this book.
Well, it's not bad. That's just how your brain works, and that's okay.
I just used to be such an intricate plotter, and I think there were like years where, because I've finished like 3 manuscripts a long time ago though now. There's been like a 5-6 year gap since I've finished a manuscript.
Mm.
And I actually feel like it's because I plot so much.
Hmm.
And then I don't finish, cuz and I think I've realized lately I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's cuz I in my head I've written the book. I did the
Yeah.
work. I did
Yeah.
it." So
That's
then I
a
go into
really
editing mode because I'm like, "I already know how I want the story to go. Let's start fixing it." And so with this draft, like I know where I'm going and I know like major plot beats, but I'm tricking myself into every scene being fun and new, which is going to cause chaos for editing me. But like I think it's the only way I can chug through to the finish line for this book, because I've done so much plot work in the past as well with this book. So I'm
Mm.
just trying to like make everything new and exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's very valid, and I think that's very common for people. I think even like George R. R. Martin has that's I don't know, don't quote me on that, but like I think they've said like he said something similar where he's a gardener and he doesn't
Oh,
pre-plot,
I think I've heard that.
and he writes as he goes, and he tries to take the seeds that he's written in previous scenes to like that's where the gardener term I think comes
Mhm.
from, to like funnel through the plot and make it impactful later because he can't plot it because it feels like he's already written the book. I
Wow.
I, I think you're in good company is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so like I used to be a crazy plotter, and I feel like it's interesting because interviewing authors, there's so many people who come in who are like pantsers, and then after being in the industry or writing a couple books, they all become plotters because they realize it makes their process go by faster. But I feel like I'm opposite. I came in as like a crazy plotter, and now I'm trying to become a pantser, even though I've done a lot of plot work on this book. But I'm trying to like go with the flow.
Wait, Nick, this is so funny because our processes are so different, but this is actually exactly the same for us. I came in as a hardcore plotter and now I'm a pantser. That's so interesting.
Well, I think you actually inspired me too, because when I found out that you were a pantser and I read your first chapters, I was like, "The fuck? The fuck you mean you're a pantser? That's crazy."
Wait,
I
that's
was
so
like
nice.
I was like, "This is actually nuts." Like, Ari's writing is so good, and she's a pantser, and it was, like, first draft writing, and so I was like, "Okay,
Wait,
maybe
Nick,
I gotta
can I
look into
say
this."
something?
Yeah.
Um, our inspiration, our goddess Mona Awad, is a pantser.
Really?
Yes.
I feel better instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. You know, I used to think panthers were crazy.
Yeah, we are though. I stand by that. I think we are. Like there is something to be said about just like being on the level of the scene of the character in that exact moment. That I think really does something for the story. And I think maybe it's just how our brains work or whatever. But, that's not to say plotting, like, I wish I was a plotter. My life would be so much easier, I think, if I was a plotter. But, yeah, I don't know that it just, I think it makes the story feel more real to me. And then because it feels more real to me, I'm able to write it in a more realistic way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't it is weird because like so for all the other iterations of this story, I plotted it out intensely. And I think that's why I never got to the end because I really felt like I already
Mm.
wrote the book. And then when
Yeah.
I made so much changes this time, I know the world and I understand the major it's almost like it's kind of like the 7-point plot structure then. I know like the inciting incident and like the midpoint and like the plot turns and the climax. Like I know those major story beats.
Yeah.
Everything else, I've
Mm.
been making up as I go, but
Yeah.
it has been working. It's just it does take I think that's where I have to ritualize, like, or focus and, like, get back into a scene. Because, yeah, if I write out too much of the scene, then I don't wanna write the scene. Then I'm
Hey,
like,
but
"Oh,
that
I'm already done."
you know that about your process. And that's like one step closer to like knowing what works for you. And that's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so plotters turned pantsers. You heard it here first. Did you learn anything from reading or writing this week?
Oh no. Um, oh man.
I learned I'm screwed. What did you learn?
Girl, same.
Perfect.
What did I learn from reading or writing this week? Um, why am I so stumped?
It's been a rough week.
Yeah. Okay. I think honestly, because I took a break. I took a 4-day break. I took a 4-day break, and that is unusual for me. But I will say, I think it was good for me. So
Mm,
maybe my lesson for the week is like sometimes taking a break is good. Asterisk with like you really need to balance that with like making sure you're showing up
mhm.
when you need to because like not everybody can show up consistently, not everybody can show up every day, like everybody's schedules, energy levels, health, all of that can look different. And so however you can show up, it's making sure like you are showing up in a way that you can, but also understanding like every human really needs to take rest and needs to take a break. And I took a 4-day break, and I think I really missed writing, and I'm actually like really excited to like
Mm.
sit down and start to work again after I think what felt like 2 weeks of every single time I was sitting down to write, it felt like pulling teeth. And so like getting that excitement back again, I think is like really exciting. And I think it goes to show like it is a-okay and necessary to take breaks, and you shouldn't guilt yourself about it um, at all, because I think it's necessary. Everybody takes breaks. Professional authors take breaks, and your brain needs to rest and your brain needs to come up with new material. And like,
Yeah.
it's one thing to be interacting with a screen all day, every day, like for your job, for writing, social media, whatever. Um, but at least for me, the way that I get inspiration is really like when I get out and I am
Yeah.
with people, I'm with people I care about, I'm with people I love, I'm like interacting with the environment around me. Um, and that is like just as rich and just as valuable as sitting down and writing as well.
Yeah, you can't be a writer and be inside all day every day and not interact with people. Like it's just I just don't feel like it works. You have to be interacting with the world in order to write about the world.
Yeah. So take breaks when you need to. It's okay.
So we're at an hour. Right? Do we want to do a crash out voicemail or should we just
I think we can do a voice note.
Friends, this is Joy, and I've come to you for support because I'm not feeling confident in my book's plot. It's still largely taking shape because I pantsed the first draft, and over the course of that process, my vision of what I want the story to be changed so much. And I've got, I don't know, this lump of material. And in the second draft, I've been carving away at that lump and trying to find the heart of the story. But I've ended up restructuring and replotting this book so many times that now I fear that I have, I guess, lost the plot. I don't know. I want the plot to feel both unpredictable and inevitable, or at least satisfying, but I can see so many different paths. And I feel overwhelmed because I doubt my own judgment. And I don't know what the most compelling path is to get my characters from point A to point B to point C. And I guess I've just continue to plod along in this story because that's all I know to do. Like, I just want to get the second draft finished, right? But I also don't want to be constantly rewriting and overhauling my drafts if that can be avoided, because the second draft is already practically a complete rewrite from the first. But even when I replotted the book and re-outlined it, I'm in the middle of the second draft and I'm finding I'm still making so many developmental changes, and I'm hoping that it's for the better, but how am I supposed to know if it's for the better, I guess. So I don't know. How do you know that the plot that you have is the right one?
my God.
Such a good question.
I think I'm gonna crash out over Joy's crash out.
Nick, that's the opposite of what we
No,
need to be
I'm
doing.
sorry. I just have never felt so seen.
Yes.
I feel like that's been my issue this whole time with this book. Is like, how do I know if the plot is the best plot?
Yeah.
It sounds like Joy is having kind of a similar issue where, like, at least for me in my book, like, I've always known the core of the story or where I want to go, but there's just so many avenues to get there. And
Yeah.
it seems like that's what she's struggling with.
I think honestly, it's also okay to be doing a ton of developmental edits on only
Yeah,
draft 2. Like I think
absolutely.
when we think developmental edits, I think we often think like, oh, it's one pass, you just do like one big restructure, but I actually think it can be like multiple drafts, multiple restructures of like different elements, and I think that that's okay, and I think if that's what's making you worried, I think that's normal.
Yeah,
Um
normal.
Yeah. I think the other thing and the really trickier part of this is like how do you know if it makes your plot stronger?
Yeah,
Like how do you know, like I think that's really tough because I think that really depends on like what your vision is, right? I
yeah,
think that's so dependent on author vision. Um and it sounds like when you said like I think it's making it stronger, like I think that your intuition and your gut instinct like follow that, because I think that that's like guiding you in the right direction, and you just need to, it's kind of like a little bit of a leap of faith, but you just need to trust it a little bit.
it might not feel like you are correct, but every time I hear my writing friends talk about this specific topic, like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm doing this right or if I'm making this better or worse. and then, like, literally right afterwards, they say exactly what they need to do. I think we all are in tune with our intuition, our gut. We're just not listening because of that, like, fear and the imposter syndrome getting in the way. I wonder, Joy, at least what helps me, and this is why, I mean, Ari and I have a podcast and we chat, and it's good to have writing friends. Like, I am someone who needs to, like, verbal process my problems. And I wonder, at least for me, that helps me because I might be saying, like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. But then, yeah, I always end up saying exactly what I need to do. So I do wonder if you can find someone where you're like, I just need to do what I call book therapy. Let's hop on a call. I'm going to talk about all my problems. And I feel like you end up saying exactly what you need to do because you knew all along. At least for me, like explaining my problems to someone else helps me organize my thoughts, if that makes sense. And give me
100%.
intuition. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And I think, because I think a lot of the times when you're like, I don't know if this is going to make it stronger, I think it's a little bit, you're so in the book, you're so close, you can't see it clearly. And I think a lot of the times actually bringing it to somebody else and just like talking it through and just having that extra set of eyes can be the exact validation that you need. Like I literally sent my synopsis to people, like full spoilers, because I was so just, I don't know if this works. Is this insane? Please, somebody tell me if this is
Yeah.
insane for one book. And that can be just absolutely so helpful. And I think also to that point, I think there are craft things that I think
Mhm.
might also even be helpful to think about, like, especially when you, Joy, when you ask the question of, how do I know if the plot is doing what I want it to do? I think a lot of the times when we think about stories that impact us in a big way, I think they have a lot of synergy among elements. And what I mean by that is like their theme ties into their character arc, ties into their plot. And I think like asking yourself about, do I feel like these are synergistic ideas that kind of like help each other, tell each other what I want that like end impact of the story to feel like, might also be helpful to like think about if the story is doing what you want it to do. And if that impact aligns with, again, that vision, that intuition that you have for the story. I think that's a really hard way to think about the story, especially because you said that, you know, you pants the first draft. And a lot of the times I think that stuff kind of comes in later. But it can be helpful when you're thinking about developmental edits of like, okay, what is my North Star? Like, what is Compass North? What is like the end point, the vision that I have for it? And how do I make sure that all of these different elements are kind of like tying in to make sure that that vision is brought to life?
I feel like this is the part where what you said earlier, like knowing your process is important or creating your process. Cause I love this part of the book stage, the editing, the like mad scientist pulling it apart, and everyone approaches it differently. It says like, or it sounds like you said you already did a lot of plot work and you're trying to figure out which plot is the best way to get from point A to point B. I think you have to ask yourself, like, how do you work through problems? Are you a visual person? Do you need to make a murder board like I love to do? Do you need an Excel sheet? Do you need to just info dump all this information in like a Word document? It's kind of like, do you need to talk to someone? Like, how are you going to work through the problems? Because it sounds like you have a lot of different branches of the plot that it could go in. And at least for me, like, I'm thinking like, okay, I like to verbal process. I also am a visual person. I would like create almost a plot branch of like, this happens. Okay, then here's the three potential scenes that could happen from there. What could happen from there? I feel like maybe visually doing that, either on a screen in like a software or on your wall, which I recommend doing, could help you see exactly where you need to go. I feel like editing is hard though, because you're trying to figure out where to focus. I think that this is where a more structured approach can come into play instead of like a flow state all the time. At least for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need like a more structured approach of how to tackle a big developmental edit. And something that I have used in the past that it really helps me when I edit is this resource called the story grid. Some people use it to plot, which I think again can be dangerous to try to fit your story from the get-go into like a story structure. But the story grid is like, they have like an Excel sheet. It's a website. You can download like a free Excel sheet. But what I feel like is, yes, it's it's the story grid. What good editors know. And it's an editing tool. It is not, in my opinion, a drafting tool. Some people use it as a drafting tool. I don't think that is helpful. But with editing, it really has you write down scene for scene what you have, not what you want, not what you want it to be, not what it should be, what you have in
Yeah.
a very detailed way. In like this is the time it is. This is what's happening in the scene. These are the characters that are present. This is the B story that we're talking about. Like it gives you all these points to write out. And again, you're not writing out what you want, what it should be. It's what you have on the page. And at least for me, that always helps because then I see what's actually there in a way that you can start to like move it around. And then you're like, okay, I see where we are. And then you have to figure out where you want to be and then make a plan to merge that together.
Yeah, like it sounds like a reverse outline, right?
Yeah, you can do it like you can do it a reverse outline. You can do it however. It's like a giant spreadsheet that you like
Mhm.
everything about your story into. And then you can figure out, at least for me, it helps me to understand where I need to go once I see
Yeah.
what's actually there and what's missing potentially.
I think that's a really good idea. Like, I wonder if, like, post draft to Joy, maybe having that kind of story grid, that reverse outline, and just seeing what you have and all of the different elements and how they fit together to kind of give you that bird's eye view. Maybe that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Just to kind of feel like you have a grasp on the plot. But I also really loved, Mick, what you said about having kind of like a storyboard where you have like this plot point and then like these are the options just so you can kind of, if you're a visual learner, see it visually in front of you. I think that can be a game changer.
Well, I feel like it's a good gut check too. So much of what we're doing is in our head. Like we are thinking all day, every day about our plot. We are talking to ourselves in our head about what should change. And I feel like, at least for me, it's so important when I start to feel overwhelmed and in that editing stage specifically, I need to get it out of my head. So that's where I mean with like the branching off points, because it sounds like you have a lot going on in your head. So you either need to like talk it out with someone or get it out visually. And I think that will help you with the gut check. Like I feel like once you see it or hear it, you'll be like, oh no, that's wrong. Oh, okay, that's correct. Like I feel like you will instinctively know because it needs to not be in your head. It needs to get out of your head.
Completely. I think that's excellent advice. We spend so much time in our heads that sometimes you just really need a sounding off board, whether that's like writing it out, drawing it out, talking it out.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're not alone. And I'm glad we listened to this one because I was like, wow, I relate really hard to the plot struggles and the not knowing if you're doing the right thing. And I like how she described it of like she has this lump of clay and now she's like whittling it away, but she doesn't know if she's making the right moves. I think that is unfortunately like the natural next step of like a draft 2, draft 3, of like the start of edits. It feels so overwhelming because you know there are so many changes, but that's why I feel like it's important to get it out of your head, get it into some structured sanity so you have like guideposts to move forward with.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. I think also it's so hard because I think part of the beauty of having a lump of clay is it's just like this unlimited potential for what the story can be.
Mhm.
And part of the difficulty with like honing in on your story and narrowing it down is like that unlimited potential then just like inevitably gets narrowed down. And I think there's a weird grieving process to that of like, but I want my story to be everything. But if you have a story that's everything, it's also nothing.
Yeah.
And so to write a good story, it has to be something, and it has to be something very specific. And I think also this whole process is trying to narrow it down to that story that is very specific. And I really relate to the idea of, having this lump of clay, having so many possibilities, because I love possibilities. Like I love not making decisions. I love living in a world of like unlimited possibilities and potential. And I think that's a really hard part of the process is like narrowing down and being like, no, I'm making this decision. This aligns better with the vision of the story, because that does involve some like strict decision making in order for the story to align with the vision. But that also means that like some of that unlimited potential needs to go away.
That is such a good point that it's like a grieving process. That is so true because you do want your story to be everything. Oh, that's so beautiful because if it is everything, it's nothing. So yeah, it is that process of making it more narrow. But I think that's why a visual branch could be good because then you're also getting all those possibilities out there and you can save them for other projects, use them in different ways for something else, and grieve them for this story, but then add them to your long list of fun ideas for a potentially new story.
Yeah,
That's
there's no thrown out ideas. Like everything gets recycled in some way or another.
yeah,
Maybe it's morphed into 5 different shapes later and that's what you use. But I always find like things always find their way back somehow.
yeah. It's always going to be fodder for something else. Like those infinite possibilities could potentially lead to a whole new story. And it was meant to be for another story, not this one. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah. Thank you,
asking the
Joy.
question. It was such a good question.
Great and relatable. And I think it
Yeah.
is like, yeah, it's nice to hear. I mean, we're both crashing out this week. It's nice to hear someone else crashing out with us. And hopefully everyone listening knows that you're not alone when you crash out.
We're right there with you
Yes.
with our sad lamps.
With our sad lamps and our vitamin D and our circ walks and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, we'll see you guys next time.
We'll see you guys next time. Hopefully we have some fun news to share. Hopefully we aren't crashing out next week, but who are we kidding? We probably will be.
Hopefully the winter is not one huge crash out.
Yes, that would be something, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. See you all next week. Bye. Thanks for listening to Craft and Crashouts, a weekly podcast by Ari and Mick. If you liked this episode, be sure to follow along wherever you are listening to stay up to date for the next one. If you want to submit your crash out for the show, DM us at Craft and Crashouts on Instagram or email us at craftandcrashouts@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a voice note in either format. We'll talk to you next week with more craft talk and definitely more crash outs.